Hi, and welcome to the Blender Render Roast, the show where you submit your artwork, we review it, and give you feedback to improve. I'm today's host, Daerik. The first artwork we have here is from Abysma. It's some sort of hangar scene of a spaceship or something. Now, he only used grayscale, so it's very important to keep contrast on the image. Right now, what's getting the most focus on this image are the lights because they are so bright, and I would like to think he would have preferred if the little spaceship over there was the focus. So for that he could have added a hidden light here, like have something blocking the view of the light source and have a lamp over here shining down. Then this would be a bright spot and our eyes would get immediately attracted to that. This part of the scene here on the left is very good looking, just this part. The material on the rail, the floors, and there's even a little person over there. So this right here is interesting and consistent. The only bright spots here are those lamps and a few lamps on the guy itself. Not much to improve, maybe a few light sources on the door, like a button to open it, or some lamps along the catwalk here. Yeah. I'm not sure how's the polling out here, but because the material is realistic and of high resolution, having geometry like this, like this, is very strange. Like this is very round, and then we have something like a cube that was slightly beveled. So I would have preferred if this was something a little more elaborate, or if it wasn't there at all. So removing that would be a good idea. Those are not, those over there don't cause such a problem because they are just a husk, a plate to protect it. So it's okay, although I would still prefer if they were as high resolution as everything else, like the spaceship. What else? There's really not much variation of what's it called when you go from dark to white. It's not the contrast, it's not the saturation, it's the value. Yeah, it's not much, there's not much value variation. So we could have added more white and a few extra grays. Right now I have this gray, this sort of gray, then black, repeat the black everywhere, and the lamps, they are super white. You could maybe add like a line on the walls that's dark, maybe some more details here, and the spaceship also to not be completely white. The more detail you add, the more attention an object gets. But yeah, it's just a few details you would have to add to make the focus of your scene be this spaceship. So you could cut big part here on the left, add a few more light sources, and maybe hide some you don't want attention getting caught to. And if you're gonna have some high resolution models like the rail here being super round, I recommend everything else is kind of along that same resolution. So maybe making a few more bevels here would help. And yeah, thank you for the submission, Abysma. I hope my feedback was useful. Next one is from Mr. Apple. Now, I think this is from the new Blender Guru tutorial, the updated donut tutorial, or maybe he just decided to make a donut by himself. The main problem here, I'd have to say, is the light sources. He used two spot lamps on either side, and that diverges the attention to the object. You should have probably used a single spot lamp for the donut and a few area lamps for the rest. I usually like to make a fake window on the sides, so have a very big area lamp here, one more to the side of course, adding in some natural blue light, and then another light source over there with some orange or another color just to complement it. And your spot lamp would make sure the attention would go to the donut. Now, as for the modeling, the dough of the donut is really good. I like the little bumps the dough usually gets and the difference in color from the middle and the rest. The frosting is a little too smooth. You could add a very slight noise just to make it a little more chocolatey or something. Don't make it so smooth like paint. And the sprinkles, I don't really like how they vary this much in size. Usually sprinkles, one of the few exceptions, they come in very consistent sizes. The thing that changes the most is how long they are, but you can't simulate that easily with a particle system that you surely used for this project. So I'd recommend you just keep everything the same size or make a group of sprinkles that have different lengths. I also don't understand the two spheres there. There's one here as well. And yeah, whenever you use like rigid body simulation, or I'm not really sure what you did here to make this effect, I assume it's rigid body, you get some leftovers that clip on the plate and you have to go manually select them and delete. Now, comparing the plate with the donut, you can clearly see a very big difference. The plate is not that shiny as it's supposed to be, and the texture is super basic. It could be due to the lack of glossiness, but yeah, it just doesn't feel right having those two on the same scene. Should try to add more detail to the plate, make it glossy. Now, the coffee mug here, it looks nice. The material glass works well. I really like the warm water bubbles on the glass. Good work there. And I don't know if you have a specific name for this kind of plate or a little cup. It has the appropriate glossiness, and Works well. So the coffee cup is really well made. I really like it. I don't like the brick texture you used. It's super spongy, has a lot of pores, too much height information of low resolution, so it looks really strange, like actual noise. So try to get a more high resolution image, or just make this a solid color wall. Probably not pink. It's really hard to find pink walls. Like a blue or white, beige. Just a simple color would do you wonders, and it's less work too. You could maybe add some details like a little wooden beam that goes across, and then use another color for the bottom, something like that. I don't really care too much for the wood, but it is low resolution. You can always just increase the scale of the image to make it high, to fake a higher resolution, because then our eyes won't be able to discern. But yeah, to recap, rework your plate material. It is not glossy and looks really weird with the donut that's high detail on top. Remember to clean up after any rigid body simulations. You have to do that manually, there's no automatic way, so just delete whatever it's outside of where you wanted it to be. I don't know what are those spheres. Your pink frosting is too smooth. The coffee cup is really well done. The wall and the wood texture are too low resolution, and I recommend you use a solid color wall instead of a texture. Alright, I really hope that helps. So thank you, Mr. Apple, for your submission. Next one is from Sina Piruzfar, and he made some sort of Viking or Welsh warrior. I'm not really familiar with some of the European history, but it reminds me of the Braveheart movie guy. So, you used particles for the hair, and I believe you used the new principled hair shader. Looks very nice. It is not just straight hair, and the lighting is really good. So all the hair, the beard is very nice. The eyebrows are a little weird, but because you're using a cartoonish style character with realistic materials, it works well. Really like the eye, especially the white spot you added here. A lot of people forget that. It's really important to give life to the character. Really nice attention to detail for the redness around the eye and the redder nose. I don't think you can get this kind of result only using subsurface scattering, so you must have done some manual vertex painting or something. The paint on the skin adds a very slight variation of roughness. Well done. The ear is really cool because it's a very perfect shape, but the cartoony style works. A very thick neck, alright. Maybe you could have used a little more muscles here, like just sculpted a bit more. Not really a problem, and because of the cartoon style, it doesn't really jump to the eye. I liked the armor, yeah, especially the cloth here. Wow, I didn't see the details. Yeah, very nice. This is the only part I disagree a little on the material, and there's a little clipping, but not a huge issue. Right now, this looks like marble or granite. And I would think, I could be wrong, but I would think this should be like copper, brass, or iron. So it should be a lot more reflective than that. If you've done your research and this is how it is supposed to look, then alright, whatever I said is it's incorrect then. But I would think it's supposed to be some sort of metal. And yeah, it's a really good job you've done here, Sina, so should be proud. And yeah, awesome. I really can't give you any feedback to improve. You even added some little particles or something to the background, so the little extra detail. Really well done. So thank you for your submission. Next one is from Abysma again. An Apple phone. An iPhone. Not sure if this is a real model or just imagining a new iPhone. But let's see. Is this usually... Is the Apple logo usually like outside? Like you can feel it with your finger? Because I think it's usually painted on. So you made the model of the Apple because it's easier than getting a texture and UV mapping it to there. But yeah, having that shadow there, you could maybe try to approximate the model a bit more, so there's no hide information. Camera's good. You kept it a little low poly there, but it's alright. Hard to notice. A little inconsistency here with the buttons. This one seems to be smooth, and this one seems to be auto smoothed. So I don't know what happened or if this is a optic illusion, but they look different when they should look consistent. Now you added some background here. The background of the whole image is nice. It's dark because the phone is a little lighter, and you're using a gradient, so we can see some more colors. Using some rim lighting there. Yeah, it's overall a good model and a good way to make a product render. Nothing too fancy, very simple, but effective. So yeah, there's really nothing. Wait, shouldn't there be the button here for the iPhone? Did they remove that as well? I've never owned an iPhone. I don't really like the Apple products, but I think they always have that button here, the home button. So maybe you're missing that, or maybe this is an actual phone that doesn't have it anymore. You tell me. Other than that, the scene is good, just a little inconsistency there. And it's over here as well. So this button right here is the weird one. So yeah, a good way to render a product. Thank you, Abysma, for your submission. Now, another submission by Abysma, and this one I have to start this mode. It was a turntable video of a spaceship, but couldn't really find an easy way to open the video for the stream, so I just took a few screenshots to review the model. The lighting of your engines is really cool. Looks very sci-fi, especially with the materials on the inside there and the main engines being brighter. So I really like this vibe over here, and the model looks good from this angle. The planet here, you can tell it's a very simple noise texture, so not much complexity. It's also only 2 colors, so you could add a little more details and some colors to have like dirt here, then water, and have some clouds maybe. It's a little more complicated, maybe you were rushing it, but there are a lot of easy ways to make cool looking planets that don't involve just having a noise texture like this. Now from another angle, from the front now, I like that, and the main thing here, I think it's too flat. The angles are too straight. So what's the angle here? I have 90 and 90 as well, and something has to close 360, and assuming it is the same, so this is 45 degrees. So it's all 45 degrees angle. Making it rounder, I think, would be ideal for a modern spaceship, unless you try to make like the I forgot the name of the Cybertruck from Tesla. This would be the Tesla spaceship, the cyber spaceship. The front here is very Star Warsy, like the name of the little minion spaceship. Is it AT&T or? I hope you know what I'm talking about. The round, and then they have the little panels on the side. They are like a little more angled than that. Oh boy. Drawing with a mouse is not easy, I gotta tell you. So maybe add a little more, one more line of iron here and make it rounder. Adding just a little more resolution. You could get a really good idea of what I would expect if you just subdivided it once. It's not too much geometry to add, and you can remove a lot of unnecessary edge loops. And from another angle, you can see that it's a very long spaceship. And yeah, this is also very square. Maybe try and make it like this, make it more dynamic, not just flat. You really have to work those curves to get nice looking sci-fi objects. I also don't like the texture here. I would have preferred if this was the same texture as this one, so nothing. Or I don't know, something else. It's very low resolution, it's like it's old. Another really good thing to add to spaceships and machinery are plates. So you could just go and add some lines like this. It usually looks really cool. Have maybe a small panel over here for the battery or something, and some cables. Mainly detail. And yeah, to recap, good job for the engines here. The texture works well there, and I like the arch and this overall vision of the spaceship. But the front I think you should rework it, make it more round, maybe a little less straight, so curve it a little more. Add a subdivision, do something to not have an elongated shape like this. And the planet, you could add more detail, make it more varied. Adding color to it would be a good idea. So yeah, thank you Abysma for your submission again. Next one is from Liam. A very good looking beach scene. So the rocks are very nice, they are high resolution and you can't really see any repetition. So really good job on the rocks. The sand is also very good looking. The the waves of the sand and the little holes, they look natural, and you even added the pores, the crystal, the sand crystals end up forming. I'm just not that sure about the roughness of the sand material. We use a trick for snow that I think can be replicated for sand. That is having a very large noise texture and use that for the roughness. So you would mix high roughness with low roughness on the same playing field. So you have a lot of dots and some shininess at some points and not so much in others. Because it all depends on how the crystal is rotated at that particular point. The water looks good. If you look really close, you can see some of the tricks he used with a Musgrave texture, but from afar it looks really good. I know that adding the bubbles at the end here, it's kind of hard to do, but it would be a very nice detail to add. You could just make a model that has like a plane or maybe an oval with some bubble textures and just plop it at some points, like here, here, and maybe do some deformation so it's not just a straight line. Alright. You don't see the sun, but you can tell it's over there. The clouds, they don't really bother me, but you can tell something weird's going on because they are doing this sort of curve. So I'm not sure exactly what you've done here. Maybe you used a very large sphere and the texture is getting distorted. You can solve this by using, instead of a sphere, a cube and then subdividing it like 4 times and using the shortcut Shift Alt S to make it a perfect sphere. And then the UV mapping for that is a lot more consistent than the default sphere object. But you could also just use a plane because you only have one angle for this image. I am assuming all the clouds are fake. You can make some real clouds with some volume shaders. That's another option. And you could also add maybe a little crab. You can maybe find a free model online for a crab to add somewhere. Maybe some shells. Shells are easy to model. A starfish will be a really cool addition. So a few options for extra details you can add. But the only problem I can observe that you could actually fix on your scene would be the sand, the roughness of the sand. The only thing I would think it's worth to go back and do a little more experimenting. The other tips I gave were adding some animals and more nature to the scene, having a texture for bubbles to add to the waves of the ocean, and rethink the sky to not have that weird rotation you have. Alright, thank you Liam for your submission. Next one is from Saber, and if I'm not mistaken, this is a Porsche. So, the car looks actually very, very nice. Super high resolution, even the tires have height information for the brand, and you can see all the individual grates on the front there. Very smooth. You even added the transition here. That's really good attention to detail. A lot of people tend to forget that a car sometimes have different parts that join into each other, just make a single sheet of metal. Here as well, very nice. I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. I've never seen that in a car. What's that called? I think it's under the same thing as the fog we add at the composition. We usually use the ghost fog or something like that, but use the star one to have the little reflections highlighted. That's cool, that's cool. Not an issue or anything. I don't know if it adds anything as well. You can see the inside of a car, very nice. People tend to forget that as well. The mirror there. Yeah, very nice. The spoiler here. Very well modeled. I really like the street texture you used, and that it is completely dark on the back. So, and the car being blue, it's all I see. And I find it really, really interesting. Your lighting is very well done. The only thing I saw in your art station that I got a little confused by is this image here. I don't know what is going on. Like, why is this texture here? Yeah, I just don't understand what's happening here. It's weird to look at and not a very pleasant way to show the model. Maybe someone can explain to me later what is happening here, because I've never seen a model shown with this kind of texture before. Alright, there's absolutely nothing to improve on your model. Very nice. I think people would be interested to hire you to make more car models or just to render them. And yeah, thank you Saber for your submission. Next one. Oh, Joe. Joe is another one of the roasters here. He made the last render roast, and this is his latest work, a vacation wagon. Juan Jesus says, This is to check how consistent the reflections are. A little weird image. So it's some sort of visualization that they've never seen, or he's just showing the noise texture he used to add variation to the reflection. I'm not sure, but thank you for explaining it. Anyway, let's review the scene. So, the little platform here, it's very nice. It's like a little piece of the world. And I really like the little grass here, almost like what's it called? The thing on stone, lime? Is it lime? I think it is. It's very pretty, it adds color, very nice. The trees, they are seemingly all different from each other, and it's nothing weird looking. I like the leaves, even though some of the branches don't have them. Looks really nice. The light source is a lot more orange or yellow than white, so it gives this warm feeling, and being reflected on the plant, it's a lot more life to it. It's really good looking. So this is some kind of cloth. It seems evidently you can bring this up and down. So good attention to detail here, adding the folds. Yeah, very nice. I think your glass here is a little too foggy. I would expect a cleaner window. Like maybe add a very slight handprint there, or a little grease, but not that much fogginess. The same thing could be said about the paint here. It looks like it was absolutely destroyed, like you grabbed a sponge and then you use the rougher side on it to clean. Missing hydraulic at the rear side though. Missing hydraulic at the rear side? This is rear side. Hydraulic. Oh, you mean over here? Huh. Maybe he has like one of those. I don't know the names. Like on a door, a hinge. Yes, a hinge here on this side. It just goes up and down, so no need for hydraulics here. Yeah. You could have the hinge there, but right, it would be another option for the hydraulics on the back. Nice. It's not just straight up the Volkswagen logo. It is slightly rotated. Very good. Yellow and white. Okay, this is not supposed to be bent like it is right here. I think. Like usually it's pretty much straight or have like very slight curvature. Here it looks a little rougher how it transitions from this side to the other. It's like trying to put the symbol following the geometry here, because it has that little bend. but you should adapt the metal here for it to be more consistent and straight. Would I like to see the white walls on the tires bigger? White walls, this ones? Yeah. So Whiten would have preferred if this was larger. Okay, could be. But I think he used a specific model for the wheel, so he tried to replicate it perfectly. The lines I was mentioning in the last render, very nice. Some air flowy thingies for the inside. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, the car overall is really well modeled. I'd say the texture for the windows and the paint shouldn't be this grungy. Like a little more consistency would be nice. The Volkswagen logo should be curved, like just a little bit, but not like this, you know. Have it flow properly onto the front. And I'm getting a weird feeling from the material here. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's like this is low resolution compared to the rest. You know? It's like there's no texture here. Like it's chalk or a little too rough maybe. One of those two options. This looks a little weird, I would say. Nothing too important, just catches my eye. Mirrors look a bit odd too, said Ointon. Oi. Oh, it's sun. Something like that. I don't think so. They look pretty okay to me. They are attached to this thing, which is attached to the car. And this metal is reflecting the world properly. What else? I really like the roots and the bigger plants here. Yeah, they all look gorgeous. All those plants. A lot of dead leaves here on the shed of the car. Cool, really cool. And then there's this this grill. Apparently it's something from the USA specifically, or maybe there's some in Germany. But the first time I saw the image from afar and there was no smoke here, I really thought this was like a mailbox. And it was super weird. But with the smoke, you can tell it's some sort of grill or fireplace. So that's nice. Maybe adding a table here on behind the van. I really don't think Joey will mess more with the scene, but ideas for future work perhaps. Adding a little table with a picnic cloth on top, so they are actually having a barbecue. Yeah. Is it possible that this would have a lamp inside? Because if it had, it would be really nice to have it stay on and then have some subsurface scattering here or some translucency for the windows there. And as mentioned on the last render, people tend to forget the insides of a car. So there are no seats, there's no wheel, no panel. but usually people are not that picky with these kinds of images. They just see, oh, cool car, nice texture, a lot of nature, nice. The directions the mirror pointing. It's I see what you mean. Yeah. I have a car, and both mirrors are more inwards than they are outwards. And of course, oh god, my mouse. The mirror closer to the driver here should be closer to the door, so it should be like here or something, and this one should be a little further away. So this one, I think it's cool, is good. You will see there, and the reflection will point behind. But Joey probably just mirror. He mirrored the mirror, and it looks the same on both sides. Very you have a really good eye, Whiteson. I didn't spot that before. So yeah, Joey also gave me a few extra images to judge him by. So this is the ambient occlusion, maybe? Probably. Nice, I guess. You can see the model a little cleaner there. So he actually used glass for the spot lamps. Cool. And I think this is just the same image, but with a sepia. You lose a lot of the fun that the image had, because then you have different colors, a little more variation, and here's just a single thing. You can't really tell what are dead leaves and what is grass. So if you were to post this somewhere, I'd say go for this one and not that. Even though this has a more old-timey feel, like the truck you have here, the van you have here. And this one, I don't remember. Is it just on the side? Yeah, you can see it better. Oh, the curve is not really working for the logo there. And for some reason you have more lines here than the other side. Why? Because you can only enter for the back seat from here, I see. Cool. That works. And the fuel thing, the fuel input, and the rubber for impact absorption, or no, it's for the parts not to collide with each other, I think. The windows are much cleaner on this image for some reason. Yeah, really like that. And you can clearly tell that this mirror is way to the side. That's a good tip for future car renders. Always have the driver's seat mirror rotated a bit more. In this image you don't have the white thingy here. Huh. So this is older, I guess. Alright, to recap, the logo should be very smooth. It shouldn't have this much of a discrepancy in the curvature. The mirror should be the driver's seat side mirror should be closer to the driver. My nickname is Oh It's On Like Donkey Kong. This way of saying it. The mirrors are aligned to the x-axis and should be 45 degrees of x. Okay. The x-axis, you mean? I'm not sure I got that. Anyway, the material for the front spoilers. Is this a spoiler? I don't know. The front thingy here for impact. It looks a little too rough. Maybe reduce the roughness to have more of that metal feel, or reduce the metalness to have more of that plastic feel. And the textures for the grunge textures for the window and paint are a little too extreme in my opinion. Alright, thank you Joe for your submission and good luck. Next one is from LaserCat. So, it's a really high resolution image. This one is 3K by 3K. You have a bowl of lemons. Okay. I have something like that at home. It's more of a larger bowl. It's not so close, like it's not a cylinder like yours. It's a little more open, you know. And I don't have just lemons there. I have lemons, sometimes apples, oranges, and there's always some bananas there. Bananas. But that's just me. I can totally accept a bowl of lemons at a kitchen. Adds a nice color to it. Nice plant over here. Although the shadows it's making, it's really concerning. The bread is good looking, although the wood cutting board seems a little too thick, but not too much. That's cool. It's missing the two screws to attach to the wall. Same thing over here. Unless on the USA you guys only have this one in the middle. The cable seems to be kind of floating. Yeah. And the main concern with the whole image is that your objects are too straight. They are too low resolution. Like look at this. It should be a lot smoother, rounder. This one I can accept. This one usually it's a little fatter, like this. I'd say if you look at the fridge here, you only have one bevel, so I'd say to have all those edges. I'd say to have at least 4, so 1, 2, 4, like that. The fridge itself doesn't look bad. It's mainly this guy. This guy is like too straight and nothing on it. I don't even know what this is. Like, why does he have a rail here? Should probably add a towel. It'd be a good idea. Yeah, add a towel here. Maybe some some magnets. Magnets are always fun to make because they could be literally anything, and you just pop them on a metal surface. The microwave looks okay. Mine has some air escapes on top there, and yours doesn't. I don't know if that's a consistency on microwaves, or if some have on the side or at the back. But mine has a few on top here. That. I really like the outside. You can see that there's a porch with a roof. The lamps are good, although I would have hoped to have a bigger lamp over here, but that's not necessary. I'm just saying I would have expected it. Is this a thing? You guys have, what's the name? Drainers on your kitchen? A little blown out with highlights, no? Let's see. Like here's a little too blown out, you'd say. It's really not that much. I think the guy is using... what's the name of the guy? Yes. Lasercat is using the filmic thingy we always use for realism, so if he isn't, he really should be. But you are right that this is too white. And the shadows are kind of confusing. What would you do? Turn off a few lamps to have more consistent lighting? Yeah, I'd say to turn off those lamps, because they seem to be causing really strange lighting. Shadows. Vents. The plugs, yeah. You can't really tell that this is a plug. I mean, you can't really see the edge of the plug here, because it's white on white. You guys know that there's a ambient occlusion node in Blender? Nowadays I always use them for all my models. I just multiply it with whatever color I'm using, then add it to the principal shader. So you would get some shadows here, even though your lighting doesn't produce them. It's because it should be there by the model itself. Yeah. But the cupboards are nice. The sink is nice. This one is very modern. I've never seen one in real life, like at anyone's kitchen, but very modern. I like this shade of gray for the wall. Maybe you could have used that same shade for the backsplash, or like black, and then a white marble kitchen top. Just ideas. Okay, I think that's all I have to say. So to recap, you have some very strange shadows, so try to turn off some lights or review what's happening here to have those shadows. This thing right here is like too clean, so I recommend you add a towel there. Those kitchen towels that you use to dry plates or your hands. You have a nice fridge. You could try adding some magnets, maybe a calendar here or something, just to make it more family friendly, you know. Lemon bowl. The coffee, whatever this is too low resolution. Like, make it rounder, make it look like it was actually made, so it curves nicely. You have two different times. This says noon 20 and this says 10:20. Yeah, unless you have something, unless you set the microwave for 12 minutes and 20 seconds. But yeah. Ergonomic handle, yeah. What would you do? Because this is a texture. You'd have to go into Photoshop to make it the correct time, and it's a lot of work. You could have grabbed this texture, applied it to just a little plane, then move this plane over there in front of the time, and then you'd have consistent time on your scene. You'd be like the extra attention to detail, but it's there. It's technically a mistake. Never seen those vents before. Oh, some houses have the what's it called? Like the global cooling system. You use a thermostat. So maybe this is to keep the floors warm or something. I live in Brazil and we don't have that. We don't have that. Also, it's a bit too bright for PM. Yeah, the light here. You're right. I would say it's like around 4 o'clock. Maybe, yeah, 4 or 5 o'clock. Definitely not noon or 10 p.m. They are built into the floorboards. Juan says, looks like my kitchen though. The times never match on the clocks. Nice. Well, that is all I had to say, so thank you, Lasercat, for your submission. Next one is from Parallel Mayhem, and it's a top-down view of a road. So, the trees, they look a bit strange from top, like you can see some clusters of leaves instead of you know, like everything being more consistent. So the trees are kind of strange, and the road does this very strange curve. Usually roads, they have to like take what's it called, like pavement, the stone thing, cinder. You have to take straight cinder blocks and put them on the ground, then another one, then a curved one, another curved one, then a straight one, another straight one, then a curved one. You can't really make smooth roads like this. I think I could always be wrong. but it looks strange. So I'd say try to make it a little straighter and have more consistent curves. Something like that. I like the little bushes on the side, but I would also say you need more dirt near the road. Like, it's perfect grass right now, and sometimes people drive off because they want to, or they just stop and get out, walk a little bit, go for a little pee on the tree. Something like that. Could also have some sort of sign here, like adding a sign right there. Some of the redness. Having a sign there would be nice. Maybe a trail goes there. Yeah. The road pinches in width, the curvature is fine, I think. So, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong says the width is being reduced at some points. I'm not sure. It looks kind of consistent to me. Yeah. So if you think the curvature is fine, then this should be good. Yeah. You can also tell that it's not the same straight line. And that's good. There is some differences. Some of them are a little more erased than others. Really, in the UK you're likely to get fined for stopping at the side of the road and peeing. Interesting. I don't think that's not allowed in Brazil. Like, I never heard of it. And probably not in the USA as well. Even if it were, people would still do it because it's convenient and sometimes you don't have a bottle. What else? I think that's it. So the road should be fine. Maybe rotating the image like this would help. Now I'll start to make like this going straight. Well, yeah, it doesn't make much of a difference. So I'll just say to rework on the trees. Make it a little more consistent and less clustery, although it looks okay as of now. Just to make it look better. You need to add dirt closer to the road here, or maybe some plants near it, a little more vegetation instead of just some bushes. And could also add a little dirt path on the side. So jaywalking is not allowed in the US, but it's super normal in Brazil and the UK apparently. It's so convenient. There are no cars coming, and I don't want to have to go all the way to the corner of the street. Unless you are like super road or have some sort of like you can't really walk fast, then I don't see any problem with jaywalking. Considering that there are no cars coming, of course. You can't just run when there's another one coming. But yeah, thank you Perla Mayhem for your submission. Next one is from the Flying Ego. And I don't know what this is, but I'm assuming it's like lava. So this part looks nice. This one doesn't. This one looks too much like it's just noise and there's not enough geometry to represent the represent the height properly. It's very fiery, very magma-y. But you need more resolution if you're gonna get this close. Isn't there a way to have like subdivision based on the distance from a camera? Because if there is, you should probably be using it right now. And yeah, it looks like you have a single model that has a what's the name? The one you use to make waves and mountains. Displacement with a displacement modifier, and then a noise texture for height, and then another texture for the emissiveness of the lava here. So I would say to use multiple models. So take the curvature you have here without the whole bumpiness thingy, and then make another model, duplicate it, cut some parts like this one, that one. You're probably not seeing anything, right? Like cut this and this and this, and then add a very orange material to it with the same texture. You can even make it a little thicker, so it looks even more like lava. I think someone posted that as a joke. No, I don't know. It's here. I'm reviewing it. I'm not responsible for trolls.